Welcome to a new Daily Top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
What's the most NSFW thing you have seen in your school, college, university, life? There was a guy banging his girl doggy style by the ravine just outside of our high school. They thought they were being discreet since it was in a forest area, but from where our physics class was situated on the third floor we had a pretty good view between the trees. Some guy pointed it out and next thing you know the whole class, including our teacher, came to the window to see what was going on. Lol. The exact same thing happened in my high school, and both the cooking class in the first floor and the class above could see it happening. The teachers tried to close the blinds to stop everyone from watching, but it was one of those metal blinds that lowered very slowly electronically. I honestly think the inventor of those was an unsung comedic genius. When in college, during a mock maths test, my lecturer was looking up what her spontaneous vaginal discharge could mean for a good 5 minutes before realizing she had left her laptop connected to the projector. Oh no. I'd have to leave the country. God, this brought back bad memories. I had gotten a cut on my forehead that turned into a horrible infection and the upper half of my face was swollen with pus. I emailed my professor saying it was so swollen I couldn't open my eyes fully and couldn't make the exam. She responded that without a doctor's note, that I couldn't get until my girlfriend got out of class to drive me to urgent care, I'd get a 0 on the exam. So I had taken a picture in desperation and emailed it to her as proof of how bad it was. Turns out she was connected to the projector and everyone in the very large lecture class saw my elephant man looking face. Were you able to postpone the exam? I went to art school. Saw a performance piece by a fellow student. She striped naked, sat down and pulled an American flag out of her vagina. That's such a tired concept. So, a red flag for you. When my professor accidentally shared his screen during a Zoom lecture and it was just a tab open to best ways to pleasure a woman. Talk about a lesson we'll never forget. At least he was trying, gotta give it to him for that. Had a professor accidentally project his porn in a lecture hall. He sprinted to the laptop to turn it off yelling, "Virus, virus, the computer has a virus." Quote, that reminds me of the audio of the kid whose mom walked in on him looking at porn. He's yelling about how he deleted the virus attacking their computer when his pants slipped down. God, I love that audio clip. My senior year of high school I took an elective class on forensic science. It was taught by a retired cop who was sincerely one of the kindest, most authentic teachers I ever had and has since passed away. But he was maybe a little too authentic with our class and didn't want to gloss over the realities of crime and prison, so he often shared with us information and videos that were, in hindsight, not appropriate to show to high school children. I remember one of them was a video of an inmate getting stabbed to death over 80 times. The video was from a security camera within the prison and I just remember thinking to myself that there was no way a human body had that much blood in it. He really wanted to impress upon us the dangers of knives versus guns and made us watch it twice. I remember feeling sick to my stomach and had a lot of trouble sleeping for the days after. Somehow I doubt the school administration was aware that this sort of content was being shared with the students, as most of the kids in that class were the delinquents and DGAF kids and they loved the teacher, so they would never report the guy. This teacher often had graduated students show up randomly during class to ask for help with their law troubles and this guy would move heaven and earth to help them. He was just that kind of guy. That being said, it was pretty eye-opening for me as a fairly sheltered honors nerd who just took the class because I had an extra slot open my senior year. Honestly, I learned more real-life education in that class than any other. Edit, paragraphs, didn't think of it at the time as I was writing on my phone while wrangling a baby, my bad. TLDR, watched a video of an inmate getting stabbed to death twice. Did we have the same teacher? Mine showed us all sorts of autopsy videos and car crash aftermath. I vividly remember a photo he showed us of a guy who was running from the police and tried to jump from a freeway overpass to the roof of a nearby house. He wasn't successful. His body ended up on the ground, but his head stayed on the wrought iron fence like something out of a medieval movie. It seriously looked like a Halloween decoration but was very real. Edit, I made the mistake of looking for it just now and found it. Not going to link it here though. Red asphalt, blood on the highway. Bub, you just named two of my favorites. School life, at a house party when I was in grade 11, so 16 years old, the party had wound down and everyone went to sleep. I got up for a glass of water and saw Colton, a guy a year younger than me, was up. He was standing with his back to me, facing the wall kinda swaying, so I went over and put my hand around his arm and asked him what was up. He kinda turned but didn't say anything legible, then I looked at my hand and it was covered in blood. He lifted his arm to show me he had slit his wrist deep. It was sobering, had to call the ambulance, woke everyone up. Someone went to get his mom, who was a drug dealer that lived across the street. The ambulance came and he was okay, but it's been 20 years and I can still see that gaping wound in my mind clear as day. He was such a nice kid, but he was dealt a shit hand at life. Last I heard, he was arrested for stealing the copper wiring from places. Alcohol removes a lot of barriers. If you're in a bad place, getting drunk can be incredibly dangerous. I posted this a while back, but my high school had a set of bathrooms out by the football field. While you could go to the bleachers or something for lunch to hang out, not many people did since it was hot as hell with no shade. One day there was a long line from the men's bathroom. Like 20 people in line outside of the actual bathroom. Turns out there was a girl giving blowjobs in the back stall. Her and the kid that got caught in the act were expelled, I think. The girl allegedly had been kicked out of a few other HS in the area for sex acts. Looking back, it's actually pretty sad and probably a sign of neglect, abuse. I knew the kid caught and a few others in line. You were totally in line, weren't you? Haha, number 17. So close. High school health class taught by a very Christian church-going woman who blushed through the entire unit. We saw a video of an actual birth, but about 60 seconds after the baby exploded out of the mother's body, leaving all the usual wreckage behind, the teacher said, "Jesus, Mary and Joseph, okay, that's certainly enough," and grabbed the remote to stop the videotape. Yes, this was a while ago. Only she didn't press stop before she pressed rewind. She pressed rewind while the video was still playing. We saw a newborn baby go back up into a woman in 2x speed. Every student in our classroom screamed and every woman slammed their legs together in shock and fear. Probably all still childless too. That had to have looked ridiculous. I'm laughing my ass off at the mental image. Just, FWOOP. Now I'm laughing at, FWOOP. Wonderful use of onomatopoeia. Sorry, your insurance denied the claim. Chlorp. I was a member of the high school marching band for a year. The bus rides back and forth to games on Friday nights were rolling vessels of teen exploration. Gave me a new perspective on band geeks. They may not have been the coolest, but they were getting more action than most of the football team. Rolling on the floor laughing. They constantly yelled, "Hand check," and everyone had to put their hands up on my marching band bus. Couples sitting together weren't allowed to lay blankets across themselves or anything. They'd yell, "Hand check," everyone would raise their hands and the smell of pisse wafted through the bus. This one time, at band camp. Lol, my mom made me join band to keep me out of trouble in high school. I was offered more drugs in band than any other place I hung out, and because band took up so much of my free time in the fall and summer, most of the girls I dated were also in band, so like you mentioned, we spent lots of time alone on a dark bus. Lol. I seen two of my teachers fucking in the music class instrument storage closet. And the baby looked at me. I visited my university as a high school senior during rush week. Went to a party at my dad's fraternity. It had a long glass wall separating the main room where a foam dance party was happening and the outside courtyard where there was beer and people socializing. In the foam, you had very little visibility. At one moment while I am outside, I see a girl's ass appear pressed against the glass. She hiked her skirt up and was getting railed against the glass. She may have thought she was hidden in the foam, but she put on a full display for the folks outside. I understand each word written here. I think I'm just too poor to understand what is happening here. Hold up and speak Richlish. Dude went to dad's former fraternity house for a party. They got a machine that blew out foam and put it in the big-ass living room. There's a floor-to-ceiling window that faces the large patio in that big-ass living room. Some chick was in living room partying in the foam. Got pushed up against the glass to get sexy time and probably didn't know it was a window. Everyone on the patio watched this chick the railed. Biology teacher, I'm French, in 6MA, when you're like 11 years old, made us watch a video of an actual birth, with no filter and full zoom on. Traumatized me forever. Best contraception class ever though. I will never have children. My 10th grade biology teacher made us watch a video of her giving birth. Ooj, brother, what is that? To this day, I firmly believe that video is partly responsible for my decision to never, ever, ever have a baby. That is not coming out of this. You know, I never really tied the two, but I too decided not to have kids and was traumatized by that, or a similar, video. We were 14 when our health class teacher shown us a woman having an abortion. We didn't zoom, but I'll never forget the vision of her lying and spreading her legs while a doctor was in between using some sort of a forceps. Partner remarked I was practicing very safe sex. No shit, LMAO. In RE we were doing a bit on animal cruelty, so the teacher pulled up a video of workers at a factory where they prepared the chickens for delivery and the workers were throwing chickens around, full on kicking them. One guy 2-footed jumped on one. Half the class was laughing, the other half crying, and a few turned vegan after that. Anyone who laughed at that has psychopathic tendencies. They said, teenagers scare the living shit out of me. When I was in college, one day during a lecture, I decided to step out to the restroom. I walked in, completely unaware, opened the door, and was greeted by quite the scene. One girl was sitting on the windowsill with her legs spread, while another was, well, busy with some very intimate activities. I froze for a moment in shock, mumbled something like, "Oh, sorry," and quickly walked out. Honestly, I was a bit stunned at the time. But looking back, it's probably the most memorable restroom experience from my college days. Intimate activities, like writing her memoir. Gay sexual predator going around the men's dorm shower and pulling the curtain down to see guys naked. He was removed from uni. Also got a few nasty black eyes and some broken ribs. Dude was bold to just come up there and snatch curtains down. Never understand how people think they won't get punched in the face for doing this crap.